Let's dive into the best camera tips and tricks for your Pixel 4a 5G. This video will help you turn on the best features for your camera as well as understand how to use them. If you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button as well. Now let's get into it. So the first tip I want to show you guys is how to quick launch your camera app. All you have to do is double tap on your power button, 1, 2, and you quick launch into your camera app. The next tip I have is to actually switch between the front facing camera and the rear facing camera with a gesture. So right now, as we all know, we would use this button to switch between the two cameras, but there's another way to switch between the cameras without even clicking a button. All you have to do is twist your hand twice, and there you see it switch to the front facing camera, and I'm going to do it again, just twist your hand twice, and it will switch to the rear facing camera. The Pixel 4a 5G has the ability to record 4K at 60 frames per second. By default, it's only recording 4K at 30 frames per second. So to enable 60 frames per second, all you have to do is click on video. And right here where it has the down arrow, all you have to do is click on the arrow. And you can see here frames per second, it's at 30. All you have to do is hit 60. And you can click out. Now you can record 4K at 60 frames per second, which is pretty amazing. Let's talk about video stabilization for the Pixel 4a 5G. To view your different options for video stabilization, all you have to do is click on the hand with the squiggly lines little icon. You just click on that. And here you get to see a list of your different video stabilization options. By default, the standard one is selected. The standard one is really for light movement. Then you have the locked video stabilization, which is for far away still shots. It does an automatic 2x zoom. Then you have active for heavy movement. And then you have cinematic pan for smooth panning shots. For the most part, your standard video stabilization actually works great, especially when you want to just shoot a quick video. But I find using the locked active and cinematic pan when necessary really handy. So test it out for yourselves, guys. If you wanted to know more about how each one of these stabilization works and how it affects your video, you can actually just click on the questions icon, and Google actually shows you a side-by-side comparison of different videos to show you how your video stabilization selection affects your video. So let's just say you have a video that you recorded and the stabilization really isn't enough. If you want to add more stabilization to this, you can. All you have to do is select the file and then click on the icon in the middle to edit. And right next to export frame, you can see there's like a little tilt in a frame. You can click on that icon here and it activates digital stabilization to your video. And it does take a little bit of time depending on how big your video is. So not only will your shots have the stabilization when you record it, we'll have digital post-production stabilization as well. And then you can click on save a copy. Not a lot of people know about this. And it's a really important feature, I think, to adding stabilization to your videos, especially videos that you recorded on the fly just to capture that moment. This one's a big winner. Another feature not a lot of people know about is touch tracking autofocus. So when you have your subject in frame, all you have to do is click on it and it will track that object for you. This works for video and it also works for your camera as well. This can really help you get some amazing shots and keep your subject in focus at all times. Something really cool you can do on your Pixel 4a 5G is that you can actually adjust your highlights and your shadows before you take your shot. Once you're in camera, all you have to do is focus on your subject and you can see your highlights and your shadows here. And you can see that I can barely see anything for my shadows here. All I want to do is just click there. And then I can actually bring up my shadows here so you can see how that exposes. You can see how that changes, and right now I can see a lot more detail right over here. I find these controls really easy to use and really quick to use, so you can make adjustments super quick before you snap that perfect picture. When you're taking pictures in nighttime or you have dark shots that you're taking, you can see by default night sight is automatically activated once the camera detects that there's not a lot of light. But say you wanted to turn that off and you just wanted to shoot without night sight on, all you have to do is click on the half moon with the A around it, just click that icon and there's a slash beside it. That's how you know that night sight is not enabled, and then you can snap your picture. which doesn't do a long exposure. You can see that you can snap away real quick. And if you wanted to turn on night sight, all you have to do is click again. You can see the half moon is there, or the crescent moon. And then you can snap your picture. You can see here it's taking a while because it's doing a long exposure. And there you go, it snaps that picture. This next feature is really for anyone that likes to do post-production with their images or likes more control with their images. Google now gives you the ability to shoot RAW. So once you shoot an image, you can actually get a RAW image and a JPEG image. JPEG image is on by default, and so everybody's shooting at that. It takes up less space. But once you start shooting with RAW, it takes up a lot more room, so just be mindful of that. And having that RAW file is really there for post-production. So to enable RAW images, all you have to do is click on this down arrow, and then click on Settings, and then go to Advanced. And here you can see RAW plus JPEG control. All you have to do is toggle that on, and now your camera shoots RAW plus JPEG. To view any RAW images that you've taken, all you have to do is click on View RAW folder. Once you click into that, you'll see all your RAW images. Again, guys, just keep in mind that this takes up a lot more room than just a regular JPEG. Basically, the RAW file is an uncompressed version of a photo that you're taking, and just gives you a lot more flexibility when you do post-editing. If you take a lot of selfies and you find yourself flipping your images quite often, Google now gives you the ability to set that option for you. So all you have to do is click on the down arrow here, and then click on the settings icon. And you can see here it says save selfie as previewed. And so it saves pictures with the same orientation seen as viewer. So whatever you see on your screen, that's the image that it's going to push out. So you can toggle that on rather than flipping it every single time. The next step I want to show you guys is something called motion pictures. And it's kind of like in Harry Potter when they opened up a newspaper and the pictures were moving. It's kind of like that, but more importantly, this feature will help you save a lot of pictures and capture the moment. It will actually give you the ability to, number one, capture the moment, and then select the perfect frame that you would want. So to activate motion picture, all you have to do is click on camera first and then go down. And it's actually on auto by default, but I find it doesn't turn on when you need it the most. So I actually like to turn it on. And now let's just take a picture. Perfect. Okay, so I just took a picture here. And now what I want to do is actually pick a frame from this picture. So all I have to do is swipe up, and you can see here there's some recommended shots, but I want to pick my own frame from this shot that I took. All I have to do is click into it, and then all I have to do is I can select which frame I want. So think about taking a picture with your family or your friends, and a couple of your friends have their eyes closed. You can actually go back and select a picture where their eyes are open. So you can find that perfect shot. It's kind of like a burst shot taken all at once, and then you can select which frame you'd want. Here's a photo that I took not too long ago, and it's a motion photo. You can see here there's some motion in it, which is pretty cool. But now I want to pick the perfect frame to have and keep it as a still JPEG. You can see here there's a whole bunch of frames I can select from. Google actually recommends a couple of them. You can see them by the dots over here. So this is the original. Here's Google recommended. But you can actually pick the perfect frame here, whichever makes the most sense to you. I like this one right here. I can save a copy. And now I have the perfect frame that I wanted. So now let's say you have an image saved and you have your face on it, or you have your best friend's face on it, but you didn't take a portrait shot. So that means you don't have a blurred background, and you kind of want that effect. So you can actually add blur to your pictures even though you didn't take a portrait picture. All you have to do is have the picture up, and you can click on the edit icon here and click on portrait. And over here where it goes to suggestions, you can go to adjust, and right here where it says blur, all you have to do is click on blur, and now you can blur your background. Now if you blur it too much, obviously it's not going to look that great, but it's just to show you that you can do this and the effect can be really amazing. And you have a better picture now. You can click done and you can click save copy. There you go, you have your image with a blurred background. Having the ability to do this in post-production is pretty amazing, and Google makes it really easy for you. Now that we got this awesome blur effect to our image, I think another thing we can do is actually adjust some of the lighting on our picture. Again, this wasn't a portrait shot, but I want to be able to adjust some of the lighting on my subject, and I can do that in post-production again. All I have to do is click on the edit icon. Just give it a second until you see the portrait section and click on portrait, and then all you have to do is go to adjust, and then where it says portrait light, and here you can create the intensity, and over here is the portrait light, and this illuminates where you drag that ball to. So you can see here I can add some more light over here, or I can add some more light over here. You can also increase the intensity, so you can go all the way to 100. You can see how it adjusts the lighting here. So you can play around with that, and then once you're happy with it, you can click done and save copy. To have these features, you don't have to shoot in portrait mode. You can adjust your images, adding blur effect, and you can also add in the portrait lighting, even though you didn't shoot in portrait mode. So something important that I find myself using when I want to compose my shot, and I kind of want to get that perfect picture, that perfect frame, I like having a grid on my phone just to get the ratios all right. So all I have to do is click on the down arrow, and then I go to settings. And then over here where it says grid type, there's no grid on by default, but I like having a 3x3, and then I can go back and you can see that there's a grid formatting. Just helps me align my subject in place, and I can take a look at the ratios of the whole image and snap that picture. So for anyone that takes a lot of selfie videos and selfies in general, and they're in a low light position, there is a way that you can actually turn on illumination from your phone so that you get a brighter screen, and then you have the ability to take a better picture. So all you have to do is go into your selfie mode. You can see here I'm in my selfie mode, and then all I have to do is click on this down arrow over here, and then it says Selfie Illumination. All you have to do is turn that on, and your screen will light up, and it just gives you the ability to take a better selfie and a better selfie video. And it works in really tight situations where you just need that little bit of extra illumination. Let's say you guys have a video that you want a couple of frames from, so you want a couple of images from that video. You can do that. It's as simple as this. All you have to do is go to your video. Here's a really silly video I took just a little while ago. It's just me smiling at the camera. All I have to do is click on the edit button over here. All my frames are in this one place. I can actually scroll through and pick which frame I want. One where I'm probably kind of smiling, and that looks good to me overall, and I can click on export frame. And then you can see export to camera folder. I can view it, and I have a frame from the video, which means I have a JPEG of the frame I've selected, or in other words, a photo of the frame in the video that I've selected. So that's it for my tips and tricks. I hope you guys have found this video really helpful. If you guys have any other tips and tricks, leave them in the comments below, as it would help out the community quite a bit. And if you guys have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below as well. Please like, share, and subscribe to me, as it would help me out a lot. Other than that, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.